YouTube? It's your boy Polo Evolve, back with another video. It's a weekly recap. Not gonna lie, this week started off pretty bad. It's because one of my close homies got married last weekend, so I took it upon myself. It's a celebration of sorts, so me and the homies turned up, and because I turned up, which I don't normally do that too often, I ended up getting a pretty bad hangover, and the physical hangover only lasted about a day, but the mental hangover, that lasted a couple of days. So it took me some time to get back into the flow of things. Luckily, it didn't affect my trading too much. I actually ended the week in profit. I'm up about $400 with 2 profitable days. So it was basically a 50-50. I had 2 profitable days and 2 losing days. So that's not too bad, but we're slowly getting back into routine. You know what? For the most part, in the past, whenever I would turn up for a celebration, I would actually feel pretty guilty, because it kind of goes against what I want to be doing in my life. I want to be more productive, and turning up is not necessarily adding to that. It's more so taking away from that. But with that being said, the homie did get married. It's good to feel shame, but you shouldn't allow it to take over your mindset, because once you start to think negatively about yourself and you have negative self-talk, that's when things really start to go down under. So you want to maintain that positive self-talk, that positive mindset at all times, because there's always a silver lining in any sort of situation that you're in. All right, so we're on the charts now, and very quickly I'm going to show you guys what we did with the 50k funded, the top step 50k funded. So this week we are up about $391. Not too bad, because it was a bit of a shaky week, like I said earlier, coming off that hangover. So let me actually go into the performance stats here. So if you guys recall from the last episode, I blew my funded last week, and then I reset it. And so this is a fresh account. So what we did different from last account was that we set the daily loss and the daily profit, which honestly was the best thing that I could ever do. In the past, what I noticed is when I took an L, I would want to revenge trade and do all that, whatever, chase the loss. But because I had the loss limit set at $300, once I took it, it's like, oh, I have to get off the charts, bro, because there's nothing I can do on the account, right? Similarly, when I hit the profit target too, like you see, on the first day I hit the profit target, there's nothing else to do. I would feel these feelings of greed, but I can't do anything because I'm locked out. And I think that's the best thing. To be honest, this is why I like Top Step, and it's why I like futures. They allow you to actually set these parameters, which I actually think it helps the trader, man. Now, next week, I know, I have $300 every day that I can risk. I'm going to take the best setup, the best trade that comes to me, and I'm going to be patient about it, because once I take that trade and I lose $300, that's it. I'm locked out. So I might as well just take the best setup, right? That's how it works. So look, I'm feeling pretty positive about it. So realistically, I'm excited to see what happens next week. We can see some of the trades. I can just explain what trade I took on Friday, which is basically, oh shit, give me 1 second. It was on NQ, and it's simple. It was just the fact that all I did was basically, once this 1 hour kind of broke past this 1 hour, it's like all-time highs, by the way. So this is the last time we ever reached that level, which was in August. We spent all this time, and now we finally made new all-time highs. If you bust it down to the 30-minute closed above the support that I had, or the resistance that I had, and then I just took it. And initially my stop loss was all the way down here, but then I moved it to break even, and I ended up hitting my $500 profit target. And yeah, that's basically it. We're in good standing. I feel good about it, guys. It's not too much to see this week, but next week for sure, I'm pretty hopeful that we can get more wins down, and hopefully bring this account up to the point where I can take a payout, right? And then once I get the payout, then I'm gonna start scaling in and buying more challenge accounts, and that's the goal. Eventually, I want to be max allocated with Top Step, and potentially make about 5 to 10k a month just clicking buttons on the screen. Why not, right? are a lot of contributing factors to why someone might not have a positive mindset. A lot of it has to stem from your environment. If you're constantly in a negative environment, there's no wonder that you're gonna have a negative mindset. So that's one thing that I had to personally change. I was around a lot of people that didn't necessarily share, I guess, an entrepreneurial type mindset. They more so just wanted to go with the motions of things. And being around that type of person, although that's not a bad thing inherently, but if you're someone that wants to achieve more in life, you got to surround yourself with people that are like-minded at the very least. It doesn't have to be the same endeavor. For example, for me, it's trading. I don't need to be around 10 different traders, right? But at the same time, it's like I need to be around people that are trying to achieve more than the average person will achieve in their life. Reading is something that I never did, that I didn't do too much of growing up. To be honest with you, I never completed a full book until I was 24. It wasn't until around COVID time that I actually decided to pick up a book and finish it. So I've read in the past, but I've never read an entire book from start to end, if that makes sense. When I was a kid, I was so much into gaming that's actually how I learned how to read, or why I wanted to learn how to read in the first place, is like so I could understand what the game meant, right? That was a big thing for me. But not much of a reader, but as I grew up, I realized a lot of the world's secrets and a lot of the knowledge that is gatekept from the average society or society in general, it's held in these books, and they realize in your face if you choose to pick it up. But at the same time, they know, all these guys at the top, they know that the average person is not picking up that book. So it's left out in plain sight for you to see, but they just know most people are not going to go through the actual material. They would much rather doom scroll and be sedated by this low quality content. Which is actually another good point that I'll bring up, is like, even earlier in the week, I found myself scrolling too much, man, getting caught up in being lazy and not being as productive as I should be. So I set a lot of parameters to get over that hurdle, because I don't want to spend too much time on my phone, especially if I'm not being productive on my phone. So what I did is I set time limits for all the social media apps. Anytime I would see some sort of content that didn't align with what I am trying to achieve in my life, I just simply click not interested. For example, the time limit, you can limit the actual time that you spend on these apps, where it actually lock you out. That's something that's very useful, because don't just leave it to yourself to be like, I'm only going to use it for 30 minutes, but I'm not going to set a hard limit or anything. And I want to manually do it myself, because when you reach that point, these apps are designed to be addictive anyway. So in fact, they might actually just keep you longer. And before you know it, when you look at the time, you're like, oh shit, it's actually been an hour. So use those tools. You guys know the story of my mom. Actually, you guys don't know the actual story. I have never really come out and spoken about it. But again, I'm gonna generally preface it right now. My mom got a rare autoimmune disease about 3 years ago, and ever since then she's been bedridden. So I've been a personal caregiver for her, a primary personal caregiver for her. So with that being said, that has brought a lot of challenges into my life, and is definitely, as a 28-year-old, my life has significantly changed from the average 28-year-old, where in most cases you just have to worry about yourself. I know there are some people out there that they're also probably in a similar situation, where they have to take care of a sick parent, or maybe they have a family of their own, which again, the average 28-year-old in today's society, I don't think so. I think a lot of people are just living on their ones, or maybe they have a girlfriend. But for me, that has actually brought a lot of challenges, because it's like I see everyone around me, they're living a certain quote unquote, like I guess there's a timeline for humans, especially for South Asians like myself. Your parents really want you to get married at a certain time and have this and this at a certain time. And I think also society plays a big part in this, even regardless of being South Asian or not. I think everyone inherently knows by the time you reach 30, if you don't have a career that you're going to be in long term, you might be deemed as a failure. Not you actually will be. And listen, I'm not saying this is inherently good. I'm just saying these are the facts of the matter. It's your job to break free from these notions, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, bro. Everyone finds success at different points in their life. But personally, I have struggled with this notion, because my life has significantly slowed down to the point where I have to focus on taking care of my mom and putting her needs above mine. So when it comes to advancing my career or making money or any sort of thing that has to do with leveling my own character up, it has taken a backseat to my mom's health. And when I look at it, I would not have it any other way because again, that's how I was raised. I had beautiful parents, loving parents sent from God. Honestly speaking, they were sent from God. So I'll do anything for my parents. And to be honest, I want to make it big in trading so I can actually provide for my family and retire my parents. I don't know how many of you guys feel the same way. I would imagine a lot of people do, man, because when I talk to people, a lot of people have the same notion. You guys let me know in the comments, do you guys feel the same way? You guys looking to retire your parents regardless of the situation, man, even if they're not sick or whatever. I feel like a lot of people, especially if you grew up with immigrant parents, you definitely have that in the back of your head, right? So when I think about it, and now that I'm ranting more and more about it, this is, again, something I've struggled with, where it's been kind of tough for me I feel like I don't relate to my peers anymore because of the situation that I'm in. That's really what it comes down to. And because I don't relate, it's hard for me to socialize with people. I feel like I've lost the ability to socialize. Maybe, is that a COVID thing? I don't know. It could be a COVID thing. I really think it's just the fact that my life is a whole lot different. I don't really be going out too much because I got to take care of my mom, of course. And at the same time, I'm trying to make it big in what I got going on, which right now is trading.